On the afternoon of May 19, 2014, April, Jace took her two sons to watch a baseball game, a rare moment of joy for her after a busy week. But as she returned home, a nagging fear crept into her heart. Would she have to face Michael as she stepped through the door? Her worst premonition came true. The atmosphere in the house was heavy, charged with Michael's angry and oppressive presence, enveloping both her and the children. Then, a gunshot rang out. The two boys stood frozen, witnessing a scene they would never forget. From a happy family to a tragedy. What caused their conflict to escalate to the point of no return? In the late afternoon in Los Angeles, golden sunlight filtered through the trees, mingling with the warm scent of wood in the third-floor apartment of an old building. April Denise Lon Jace took a deep breath, her heart still pounding from her afternoon jog. Born in 1974, April had made a name for herself in national athletics, winning numerous medals and becoming a symbol of resilience and determination. Memories of grueling track training instilled in her the belief that only effort and perseverance could lead to success. In stark contrast to April's vibrant energy was Michael Andrew Jace, a man both charismatic and reserved. Born in 1962, Michael was a well-known actor, famous for his role as police officer Julian Lowe in the series The Shield. On screen, he was a beacon of honesty, morality, and reliability. His deep voice and steady gaze inspired trust. In 2003, fate brought them together at their first meeting. April was drawn to Michael's sophistication and warmth, while he was captivated by her fiery energy and decisiveness. In the early months of their romance, they were like two flames burning brightly together. Shared smiles and quiet moments created the illusion of a perfect couple. They soon married and had two sons. But beneath this facade, signs of Michael's true nature began to emerge. Silent jealousy, words that were both caring and controlling, gave April subtle but alarming glimpses of a different side to him. Accusations of violence from his previous relationship, along with lingering memories, hinted that Michael's warmth could quickly turn to rage. Strong and sharp-witted, April realized she faced a new challenge not on the track, but in the apartment she called home, where light and darkness began to clash, revealing the intricate pieces of Michael's true self. In 2008, Los Angeles buzzed as usual, with honking cars, golden lights from coffee shops, and the smell of exhaust from crowded streets. But in Michael Jace's private world, things were starting to change. After 7 successful seasons of The Shield, he faced failure-rejected auditions, declined scripts, and the realization that the spotlight he once owned was fading into memory. Each knock on a new opportunity reminded him that fame was fleeting, and his career was slipping into an abyss. Meanwhile, April, resilient and strong, continued to excel. In 2011, she achieved the pinnacle of her lifelong dedication, becoming a world champion in the 4x100 relay. She then poured her heart into her work as a financial advisor at Biola University. This pride, which should have brought joy to the family, became a source of pressure for Michael. The contrast between his wife's radiant success and his own growing darkness fueled a toxic dynamic, a spiral of jealousy, frustration, and a sense of lost control. That same year, a financial crisis hit Michael. He was forced to file for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, with debts ranging from $500,000 to $1 million. It wasn't just about money for Michael. It was a blow to his honor, ego, and the sense of being the family's provider that he had built over years. When a man loses his ability to provide for his family, he often feels he's lost his identity, a psychologist noted, emphasizing that for someone with controlling tendencies like Michael, this pressure could manifest as violence. From 2013 to early 2014, Michael began suspecting April of infidelity, becoming obsessed with the idea. He started tracking her every move, checking her phone, interrogating her about where she went and who she met. This control went beyond surveillance, sudden outbursts of anger, thrown objects, and shouting filled the house in front of their young sons. April began to feel she was living under constant pressure, where every glance or gesture could ignite Michael's next rage. In early 2014, April confided her fears to friends and colleagues. They noticed she smiled less. Her face was more strained, and faint bruises sometimes appeared on her body, always explained vaguely. In recovered messages from her iPhone 5C, she wrote, "I'm scared to go home." These words weren't mere complaints. They were a cry for help from a woman who sensed the looming danger. In May 2014, April made a decision she believed would save her and her children divorce. It wasn't a hasty choice. It had been planned for months, carefully prepared with legal and emotional support from family and friends. But for Michael, this was the final straw. A man who had lost his career, finances, and power now faced losing his family. His ego was threatened to its core. He began threatening and warning April about the consequences of leaving him. In his world, if he couldn't have April, no one else could either. May 19, 2014 started as an ordinary day for April. She took her two sons to a baseball game, a family activity she cherished. Meanwhile, Michael was executing a carefully planned scheme. That afternoon, he texted April that he had left the house, creating a false sense of safety. "I'm out. Come home, babe." In reality, Michael was still at home, waiting with a loaded gun, a weapon owned by April's family, adding a cruel insult to her family's memory. Believing his message, April sent one final text before returning home. "Are you sure you're gone? I'm scared." It was a sigh, a wordless plea from a woman sensing the danger lurking ahead. Around 8:30 p.m., April returned home with her two sons, aged 8 and 5, still excited from the game, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. As soon as April stepped inside, an argument erupted. Michael, fueled by months of pent-up tension and anger, confronted her about her intention to divorce. The argument quickly escalated. He accused her of affairs he suspected without evidence. The two boys, frightened by their parents shouting, hid in a corner of the room. They had witnessed arguments before, but this time something felt different. A subtle danger hung in the air, palpable even to the children. What followed was a brutal act, later recounted through the boys' testimony and Michael's own confession. He drew the gun and shot April in the back, a fatal shot that brought her down. But the cruelty didn't end there. As April lay in pain, dying, Michael stepped closer and spoke words the boys would carry for life. "If you like running, why don't you try running to heaven?" The taunt was a vicious mockery of April's passion for athletics and the legacy she had built. He then fired 2 more shots into her legs, not to kill, but to inflict pain. This act showed calculation, contradicting the defense's claim of a momentary loss of control. It was a final, brutal assertion of dominance Michael had sought throughout their marriage. Immediately after, Michael made 2 calls, The first was to 911, his voice chillingly calm. "I shot my wife." No panic, no remorse, just a statement of fact. The second call was to April's father. "Come get the kids. I shot April, even in this moment." Michael tried to control the situation, presenting himself as doing the right thing by ensuring the children's care. The two boys, witnesses to the entire tragedy, were deeply traumatized. They saw their mother shot, heard their father's cruel words, and now faced a reality where their lives as they knew them were over. When police arrived, April was dead. Michael sat calmly waiting, and the boys were in shock. The crime scene in a quiet Los Angeles neighborhood became a haunting memory for all who saw it. On the morning of May 20th, 2014, Los Angeles woke to shocking news. Michael Jace, the celebrated actor from The Shield, had been arrested for killing his wife. The news spread rapidly, drawing global media attention, but for the Los Angeles Police Department investigators, the initial reports were just the tip of the iceberg. They knew that behind what seemed like a spontaneous act of rage lay a calculated plan, meticulous preparation, and a long pattern of abusive behavior. From early that morning, seasoned detectives specializing in domestic violence cases were assigned to the investigation. They immediately noted Michael's eerie calm in his initial statement, unlike most perpetrators after a violent act. Michael showed no panic or remorse. He recounted the crime's details as if describing a movie scene, from planning the act, sending deceptive texts to lure April home, to preparing the gun and choosing the moment to kill. In the interrogation room, Michael provided a detailed confession, admitting to shooting April 3 times. He described the motive for each shot, the first to the back, and 2 to the legs to cause pain. This confession not only confirmed his guilt, but revealed a calculated cruelty, undermining the defense's claim of a heat-of-the-moment act. A critical breakthrough came when investigators unlocked April's iPhone 5C, a challenging task amid tensions between Apple and law enforcement over privacy. Once accessed, the phone revealed a treasure trove of digital evidence, messages, chat logs, and notes exposing April's growing fear. One notable message, sent hours before her death, read, "I'm scared to go home." Its timing aligned with Michael's deceptive text, creating a false sense of safety. Other messages showed April had been planning to leave Michael for months, consulting lawyers, and considering divorce and relocation with the children. Investigators also delved into Michael's past, particularly his previous marriage to Jennifer Bitterman. Her testimony painted a clear picture of a recurring pattern of violence, physical assaults, choking, threats, and psychological manipulation. Though no police reports were filed previously, Jennifer's account confirmed Michael's violent tendencies years earlier, suggesting the danger to April was not random. Jennifer later said, "I tried to warn April." But women in those relationships often can't see the danger until it's too late. At the crime scene, investigators collected key physical evidence. The gun bore Michael's fingerprints, and 2 bullets remained in the magazine. The autopsy confirmed 3 bullet wounds, matching the sequence described. Michael's phone and computer revealed searches about divorce and child custody, supporting the theory of premeditation. Neighbors reported hearing shouts and gunshots around 8:30 p.m., confirming the timeline. The most heart-wrenching part was interviewing Michael and April's sons. Questioning children in such cases requires specialized skills and extreme sensitivity. The team worked with child psychologists to gather information while minimizing trauma. Nehemiah, 8, recounted the night's horrors in detail, from the argument and shouting to his father's cruel words, "If you like running, why don't you try running to heaven?" His 5-year-old brother, though less articulate, corroborated key details. Their testimony became undeniable evidence of Michael's calculated cruelty. Social workers noted the boys showed classic signs of severe psychological trauma, nightmares, developmental regression, and extreme fear of adult men. Experts predicted years of therapy would be needed, with the memory of their mother's death haunting them for life. The case sent shockwaves through the entertainment community and the Shield fans. Colleagues expressed disbelief, describing Michael as normal or friendly. However, some industry insiders spoke of concerning behaviors they had previously overlooked. The case highlighted the culture of silence around domestic violence, even in high-profile industries. The investigation made it clear this was not a spontaneous act. The preparation, timing, use of the victim's family weapon, and calculated cruelty all pointed to premeditation. The LAPD pieced together a comprehensive picture of domestic violence and the dangers of unchecked control and jealousy, from simmering conflicts to the final act of murder. With physical evidence, digital records, and witness testimonies compiled, prosecutors had a strong case to charge Michael with the harshest possible penalties. In 2016, nearly 2 years after the tragedy, Michael Jace's trial began at the Los Angeles Superior Court. Media attention was intense, with reporters from around the world covering the case of a Hollywood actor, though expected to last a week. The courtroom events left an indelible mark on all present. The prosecution, led by Deputy District Attorney Tanaz Mukayev, opened with a powerful statement. This was a story of obsession, control, and violence. Mukayev portrayed Michael as a man unable to accept his wife's desire to leave, leading to the ultimate tragedy. The case rested on clear pillars: premeditation, shown by Michael's deceptive texts luring April home while he waited with a loaded gun, a pattern of abuse, evidenced by Jennifer Bitterman's testimony about his prior marriage and April's fearful messages, cruelty, demonstrated by multiple shots aimed to inflict pain, particularly to April's legs, and the children's testimony, especially Nehemiah's, about their father's mocking words about running to heaven, providing undeniable emotional evidence. The defense, led by attorney Jamin Hicks, faced a near-impossible task. With Michael's confession and overwhelming evidence, they focused on mitigating factors, emphasizing his mental health crisis and desperation, severe depression, financial stress, and a declining career. Arguing these impaired his judgment, they claimed the shooting was a heat-of-the-moment act, constituting voluntary manslaughter rather than first-degree murder. The defense also questioned Jennifer Bitterman's credibility, highlighting the lack of prior police reports for her abuse allegations. The trial featured powerful testimonies shaping the outcome. Nehemiah 8 was a central witness, recounting the shouting, argument, and his father's cruel words. No one in the courtroom, even seasoned attorneys, was unmoved. Jennifer Bitterman's testimony about Michael's controlling and violent behavior in their marriage established a history of abuse. Forensic experts, through ballistics analysis, confirmed 3 distinct shots, supporting the prosecution's claim of intentional cruelty. Financial experts explained Michael's bankruptcy and mounting debts, supporting both the defense's stress argument and the prosecution's motive. Psychologists analyzed the pattern of domestic violence, helping the jury understand how conflicts escalated and why April may not have immediately recognized the danger. After a week of hearings, the jury deliberated for just over 2 hours. They returned a second-degree murder verdict, prompting mixed reactions. The prosecution had sought first-degree murder, citing premeditation, but the jury concluded that Michael's actions, while intentional, fell short of fully premeditated first-degree murder. Michael remained stoic, maintaining the same calm demeanor throughout the trial. On June 10, 2016, Judge Robert Perry sentenced Michael Jace to 40 years in prison, 15 years for second-degree murder, and 25 years for firearm enhancements. Under the law, he would be eligible for parole only after 30 years. At age 81, during sentencing, Judge Perry emphasized the gravity of the case. It was not just a wife's murder, but the psychological destruction of innocent children who witnessed the tragedy. The defendant showed a cold disregard for both the victim's life and the lasting impact on his sons, April's family, while acknowledging no verdict could bring her back, expressed satisfaction with the justice served. Her eldest son, Savoy Brown, spoke for the family. "Though nothing can bring my mother back, we feel justice has been served. Michael Jace didn't just kill my mother, he destroyed the lives of her 2 young sons. This verdict ensures he can never do this to another family." The trial was not just a legal proceeding, but a testament to the escalation of violence, control, and obsession that turned a once successful actor into a ruthless killer. From financial pressures, career failures, jealousy, and a sense of lost power, it all converged in a family tragedy, with lifelong consequences for the victim's children. April's 2 sons now live with extended family, receiving ongoing support from psychologists addressing the complex trauma of witnessing parental violence. Nightmares, anxiety, and hypersensitivity to adult men are typical signs of their enduring psychological damage. Biola University, where April taught, established a scholarship fund in her memory, continuing her legacy through education. Her achievements in athletics and education endure, but more importantly, her story serves as a warning about the hidden dangers of domestic violence. April's case highlighted grim societal realities. The most dangerous time for victims is when they attempt to leave abusive relationships, escalating violence, financial control, isolation from support systems, and threats involving children are critical warning signs. Cases like April's normalize conversations about abuse, encourage victims to seek help, and remind communities to act. The media and public witnessed Michael's fall from respected actor to convicted murderer. His The Shield episodes now feel unsettling to many viewers, underscoring the disconnect between his on-screen persona and private reality. The case raised questions about how well society knows its celebrities, as status can mask dangerous behavior. Today, in prison, Michael has faded from public consciousness. Records show he has adapted to institutional life, participating in educational programs but showing little public remorse. With parole eligibility at age 81, his remaining years will likely be spent within the walls of Corcoran, a stark contrast to the lights and screens he once knew. While Michael fades into obscurity, April's legacy endures. Her athletic achievements, educational contributions, and scholarships for students testify to her impact. Her story is not just a personal tragedy, but a warning and inspiration for women in similar situations, reminding society of its duty to protect victims, support children, and break the cycle of domestic violence. The case teaches profound lessons. Domestic violence spares no class or education level. Leaving is the most dangerous moment. Children who witness violence suffer lasting trauma. Warning signs must be heeded. And professional support is essential to break the cycle of abuse. Reflecting on April Jace's tragedy, haunting questions linger. How many women like her live in fear behind closed doors? How many warning signs are ignored? Is society doing enough to protect victims and intervene in time? April's legacy lies not only in scholarships or memorials, but in the families protected, lives saved, and cycles of violence broken.